Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Sunday, January 24th. It's about 2 p.m. and I'm heading over to Waikea Shopping Center. It's 79 degrees out. It's a little bit humid, like always, so it probably feels like 82 or 83. I see the ground's wet. I forgot it had rained earlier. What a beautiful day otherwise. Let's see, it looks like, I guess we're about to finish off January, so February 4th will put me at 3 months here. And so far so good. But I'll definitely give it like a few years before, like a whole year before before making a verdict. I just in terms of my impression so far, I definitely know that I'm not going to leave Hawaii anytime soon. Like, I could see myself maybe struggling to find work for during my first year. I'd mentioned in previous videos that I work in IT, but I'm between jobs right now, so I'm working two part-time jobs. So I could definitely see myself like struggling for work here in my first year living here. But if that's the case, once I hit the 6 month, I think I have a short lease. So once I think I have a short lease where I live, and so once I hit 6 months, if I feel like that's going to be the situation, then I'll probably move to someplace a lot cheaper, like for maybe $200 a month, and then just continue working and save up enough to move to Oahu, or probably Oahu. Maybe one of the other islands. It honestly depends on the kind of work I'm able to find in the first year. Maybe move to Maui. So far, I guess even though there's less like random things to do. Wow. So far, even though there's less random things to do, I actually have enjoyed living on an island that's not quite as busy as the other islands. I hear there's a lot of traffic on Oahu. I'm told it's like a miniature California. But even before even before then, I think I'll do my best to try and find remote work so that I won't have to relocate. But I'll at least be able to go visit if I'd like. It's already been suggested to me to visit Oahu for like New Year's Eve and stuff. But yeah, I definitely do not. Wow. I definitely don't. Definitely don't feel a rush to go to a different island. I still want to check out the Kona side, which is the west side of the island. But at this point, I should say during this year, I think my biggest focus will just be in trying to find like substantial maybe to find substantial remote work. It kind of looks like things are headed in that direction, like in general as well, like in the country. Well, I guess in the world now, actually. I kind of imagine that living and working and going to school remotely is going to be the big takeaway from this decade. You know, like by 2030, like many more things are going to be remote. If I had to guess, like doing everything remotely will become a big part of everyone's life. Which, as someone in IT, I find interesting because if that ends up being the case, if that ends up being the case, it means that like much more data about all of us and about like our lives will end up online. Like we'll kind of like migrate from being sort of like off the web to being online, you know. I mean, I assume it's just a part of the natural progression, though. Part of the natural progression of things. And, you know, I feel like it'll be, there's a number of things that are coming up, within our lifetimes that I think will be interesting, or at least they come off as interesting to me. One of them is remote work and like not having to go into work, not having to go into work ever, or almost ever. Obviously, there will be, you know, a number of professions who will always need people physically present, but it'll be interesting to see how people's lives change when they just never have to like report into a physical office again. You know, I wonder if it'll change like where people will decide to live. You know, like I wonder if there will be an uptick in people choosing to live internationally, or and not just Americans, but also people from other countries. You know, like choosing to like move around places where they normally wouldn't, because they were locked into into whichever corporate office or business that they worked for. I mean, I hear in New York that only about 10% of the people who vacated all the offices due to the virus are expected to return. Only 10% of people are expected to return to offices, and I mean, I don't know how true this is, but I feel like a lot of times you can look at big cities, at dense cities like New York, as like microcosms, as like predictors, or good predictors, or good like sample sets for what will eventually happen. You know, like in other communities, in like around around the country and around the world. And a lot of times, being from there, a lot of times, you'll see trends there that will trickle down. You'll see something pop up, in some place like there, maybe like in LA, and then you'll start seeing it, you'll start seeing it in other parts of the country. So if only 10% of people are expected to return to work there now, then like I'm thinking everything is gonna I'm thinking a lot more business is gonna be remote by in the coming years. Everyone will kind of adjust for it. On the one hand, I suppose the social aspect of reporting into work goes out the window when it comes to working remote. For whatever it may be worth. And I know in companies where people stay for a long time, I know it can be meaningful, like you can kind of like watch each other grow up and like, get married, have kids, and like, you can like become like a little family with, in certain work environments. But I know that in terms of, look, that's a Roadrunner. Oh, of course it stopped. But I do wonder whether everyone working remote will change people's quality of lives, quality of life. Like not having, like, so far I've had a chance to work remote a little bit, and not having to commute anywhere, like day and night, without even being paid for transit time or anything. I feel like that's big. Like that is something that is Yeah, not having to spend like hours in traffic or hours taking the train. Um, that's that's big. Like, I've had a chance to work remote, and I would say that it is that being able to just like wake up and sign into a computer instead of having to like like shower, like put on a uniform, like do all this stuff. It's the transition. The transition is a lot less jarring. Going from bed to computer. So that's one thing that I think will be a relief. I am, in terms of quality of life, I do wonder about number of hours spent in front of a computer. When it comes to working fully remote, number of hours spent in front of a computer, that could actually be a hindrance to quality of life. I imagine, working from home, you're going to be like between a computer and on a computer, or maybe between computers and TVs. I guess maybe we kind of already are like on our phones and computers all the time anyway now, so I don't know. But I'm trying to think what else would be different. You know what? I think it'd probably be a lot more sitting in front of a screen for kids, for students, than it would be for adults. Like, I think it would be the same for adults who are already like in front of computers for work, but it'll probably be an increase of that for students, for children. We'll see, though. We'll see what happens. As for the movie industry, I do really miss being able to go to the movies. Hopefully that comes back, but I think the challenge would be figuring out a way to basically set up movie theaters online, where you can sign in, but that's basically the same as Netflix or something. But you could sign in and watch like movies that should normally be released in theaters, but they would have to figure out a way to do it such that it is secure, and there'd be no way of like recording the movies, and that's very difficult. There's almost no way you could do that. Like, because anyone could just take a camera and sit in front of their computer or something, or their TV. And record. Here we have some royal palm trees across the street. I now recognize them because they have soft bark at the top. So I think that working remotely is going to be a big game changer in terms of people's lives in this decade, in terms of how people live life. That's going to be one big thing. And then I think like innovations in transportation is going to be a big one. Probably within the next 50 years. Innovations in transportation. That's going to be the biggest. I think that'll be the biggest thing. Like what's going on with hyperloops. Like right now, they're just making small ones. You know, like they're just making ones that I know they've got one being built. In California, I think there's one being built in China. There's one being built in Saudi Arabia. There's one being built in India, and I'm not sure where else. But hyperloops are going to be huge. Like, are going to be a huge deal in terms of how they impact our lives, because. If you can wake up, I mean, I guess remote work is probably going to cancel this out. But if you could wake up in New York and commute to Los Angeles, like in an hour or two. I mean, I know we're a long ways away from the times being that low, but if you could wake up in New York and go for work, or even just go spend the weekend on the West Coast and have it be as simple as just a couple hours, or as short as just a couple hours, it'll mean, or if you could do it, I don't know, if you could do it, no, I mean, even that would change, it would open up options for what people felt like they could do in their lives, like in their day-to-day and week-to-week lives. Being able to commute very far in a short period of time, it's like, I don't know, like I don't know. I think that'll just be like once hyperloops become widespread, I think the only other things remaining are going to be intercontinental roadways, intercontinental highways, and I know there's one that's supposed to be planned going from the East Coast, of the United States on the mainland to Europe. That would be really big, like being able to drive to Europe for the weekend. You know, that would be big. Or being able to, you know, to drive to another continent in a relatively short period of time. I think we'll definitely see that within like the next 50 years. And again, that'll just open up possibilities for people, and it'll just keep making the world smaller. And then finally advances in like space flight. You know, like if they actually are able to successfully get commercial space travel up and running, then, you know, it could mean like, like flying out in New York and arriving in South Africa in 30 minutes, you know, like that would significantly change like how people start to live their lives. Just being able to like travel anywhere within a country or anywhere between countries in a very short period. And so I expect that we're going to see that, and we're going to see like a lot of like remote work and whatnot kind of become mainstream. So I want to believe that those are some things that we'll have to look forward to. I guess I'll talk about